metrics question for you. It relates to the population and then the comments that were made about transportation. What you know about change in overall, over time, vehicle miles traveled per person and per visitor. And then a while back we saw the carbon footprint per capita of this county and how it was higher than the national average and where that sits now, if there's any new information.
The question was related to trends in
Transportation.
trends in transportation. Are we driving more? Is our carbon footprint higher? Yes, there are more cars on the road in all three counties that comprise the greater Jacksonville area. I can't give you exactly the number, but if you happen to be driving, I don't know, say down Broadway last summer,
You weren't
just
right.
pick something at random. I think the really critical thing there is one of the other projects that 1% for Tetons funded a few years ago was to do a carbon footprint for Teton County, Wyoming. And so that was dated from 2009, I believe, or excuse me, 2008, right before the crash. And the really critical thing about it, the interesting thing, is that in the United States as a whole, in the typical city, roughly 2/3 of all the carbon footprint is a result of buildings. And in Teton County, roughly 2/3 was from transportation. We are a low population density, bunch of people spread out over a large place, and we have a lot of people come and visit. And so if you're trying to reduce the carbon footprint, which we haven't done a very good job in doing, we're great at changing light bulbs and things like that, and I say that with as somebody who passionately believes in that. It's something that needs to be done. But if we're really going to try and bring down the carbon footprint, we have to do something about transportation, which is almost impossible to do. It's a very tricky, it's not a bad metaphor for these larger environmental issues we have, but generally, yeah, the transportation, the amount of transportation miles is going up, which is partly a reflection of our recovering economy. One more question? Deb?
I think Karina was starting to get at this, but maybe someone else can help me even articulate this. In that, a lot of the comments I've heard today strike me that Jackson Hole, or the bigger ecosystem, that it's a very people-centric look at it, as if this ecosystem and its wildlife, scenery, snow, exists for the benefit of the people. And I'm wondering, or again, I'm not articulating it real well, but I'm wondering about the role of trimming our sails in deciding what our needs and our desires are for the benefit of this wider ecosystem. And also there's a concept that came to me that we look at, say, grizzlies, and a lot of people think grizzlies, that we're at our carrying capacity for grizzlies. Many more people think we're beyond carrying capacity for elk. And what about people? Is there not just a carrying capacity for development in town, but for the bigger area? Is anyone looking at that, studying it, or thinking about it? So a little question, a quick one.
Yeah, that was a really complex and difficult question, which is why Karina's going to take it.
I don't think anyone is looking at it from that perspective, and I think it would be a very interesting and challenging exercise to do that. I don't know if was there a question beyond that? Is anyone doing this? I think it's a great observation.
Sandy, one last question,
This isn't
comment.
a question, it's just a response. In the 70s, it was looked at. And it is, as everybody's saying, it's a very difficult question. It's been looked at through the planning process over the course of decades without a definitive answer.
Great. If you didn't hear that, Sandy said that in the 1970s there was a question of carrying capacity looked at, and it wasn't conclusive, and it remains not conclusive today.